Pastor James began scrolling through the expenses again: utilities, ministry programs, maintenance, insurance. Then he stopped. His eyes froze on one line in the budget: his personal expenses. And suddenly, something uncomfortable crossed his mind. Slowly, he turned his head towards the window. Out in the church parking lot sat his brand new vehicle. Hey, everyone. Before I start this story, I need your help. A pastor called me late one night because he's facing a serious challenge. The deadline for his church building fund is approaching fast, and the numbers in the budget aren't adding up. He has the vision, the congregation believes in the mission, but right now, the finances need wisdom and clarity. So as you listen to this story, I want you to think like a financial advisor, a steward, and a problem solver. What would you do? Where would you adjust the budget? What expenses would you reconsider? And what priorities would you shift so the church can reach its building fund goal before the deadline? By the end of this story, I want to hear your ideas in the comments. Let's see if together we can help this pastor find a path forward. Now, let me tell you what happened that night. It was late in the evening when my phone rang. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick it up. On the other end of the line was a pastor I knew. His voice sounded different, a little tense, a little rushed. T, I need your help. That got my attention immediately. He went on to explain that the deadline for the church building fund budget was coming up fast, and the numbers just weren't coming together. I have been staring at this budget all night, he said, and honestly, I'm starting to feel overwhelmed. I told him to bring everything, every number, every expense, every bill. The next evening, we sat down together at a table with his laptop and a stack of papers. You could see the stress written all over his face. He kept saying the same thing. The vision is there. The congregation believes in the building, but the budget isn't cooperating. So I started asking questions. What are the monthly expenses? What's the giving projection? What's already committed? We went line by line. Then something caught my eye. One of the expenses stood out, not because it was wrong, but it was big. I looked at him and asked gently, Pastor, tell me about this payment. He paused for a second, then laughed nervously. Well, that would be my vehicle. He explained that he had recently purchased a new vehicle. At that time, it made sense. He drives constantly, visiting members, attending community events, making hospital visits. But when we looked at the numbers together, that monthly payment was heavier than he realized. He leaned back in his chair and shook his head. You know what's funny? He said. I preach about stewardship every Sunday. Then he smiled and added, and now I'm the one learning the lesson. But here's what I appreciated about him. He didn't get defensive. He didn't avoid the conversation. Instead, he said something powerful. Let's fix it. So we started adjusting the budget, cutting unnecessary expenses, shifting priorities, looking at what truly mattered for the building vision. Little by little, the numbers started making sense. You could almost see the weight lifting off his shoulders. By the time we finished, the budget wasn't perfect, but was clear, realistic, and manageable. He closed his laptop, looked at me, and said something I'll never forget. Sometimes the blessing isn't more money. Sometimes the blessing is someone helping you see your money differently. And that moment reminded me of something important. Even leaders need help. Even pastors need guidance sometimes. And sometimes the difference between stress and peace is simply having a plan. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt overwhelmed looking at your finances until someone helped you break it down? Because clarity with your money can bring something we all want more of: passion, peace, and prosperity.